This episode is sponsored by JDAQA Software Testing, your scalable solution for manual, automated, security, and performance testing. Check us out at jdaqa.com. And with that, let's get on with the show.
This is The First Customer, hosted by Jay Agner.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the First Customer Podcast. My name is Jay Agner. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by two people. My first three-way conversation, good friend of mine, Ivan, and his co-founder, Renan. I'm not even going to try the last names. I was going to do it, but then I decided I didn't have to. So, co-founders of a very cool tool, MuukTest, is a front-end testing automation platform. We got connected years ago, and great guys, great ownership. I got to meet them in Toronto at Collision recently, so that was fantastic. This will be very fun. I'm really looking forward to figuring this out. So let's give it a shot. Ivan, why don't you introduce yourself first? Where did you grow up? And take your time. Did you have any inkling along the way that you wanted to be an entrepreneur one day? Was this something you grew up, kind of doing as a kid? How did you tell me a little about your story?
Yeah, first, thank you, Jay, for inviting us to the podcast. It's great to be part of this project that you have. It has been growing, so we are happy for doing that. Ivan Barajas Vargas, the founder of MuukTest. I'm from Mexico, from a small town called Tecalitlan, kind of south of Jalisco. As a reference, is near Guadalajara or Puerto Vallarta, kind of that area. So I'm from there. I grew up there. Then I went later, like when I was 11 years old, I moved to the big city, Guadalajara, where I studied computer science. That's when I started getting involved with software and testing. Regarding your question about entrepreneurship, actually, I recently just realized that I have always had kind of the entrepreneurial bug on me because of my family. They have 4 or 5 members of my extended family. They have grocery stores in Mexico. So, I mean, it's small businesses that they launched. So I think I grew up seeing that. And once that I felt ready to try something on my own, I started working with Renan to launch MuukTest, but I think that was kind of the source for my entrepreneurial attitude
I love it. Renan, same question to you, buddy. Where did you grow up, and did anything kind of impact your eventual co-founding of MuukTest?
Yeah, well, thank you, Jay, for this place. Happy to collaborate and share our story. And I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico. I grew there. My family is around the area. And one of the things, my family, they also, because of their family things, they had to decide to start their own business. So nothing related with technology, is something related more with services. But at the end, somehow, when I was little kids, I grew, I was seeing my father, my mother, they going out selling things, making sure that they can provide to the family. So I had that, chip in my head. And even though when I graduated from computer science, actually, Ivan and I, we went to the same university. And I knew that eventually I will go through that path. But at the beginning, I said, well, let's first, get that job. Let's go to different companies. And when the moment is right, I know that it's going to be the right time and I want to go for it.
Love that.
Something actually, now that Renan mentioned the people and cool together, something funny also about how we started is like we coincided in a couple of jobs. Like we finished school, we went the wrong way, then coincided in a couple of companies, and then we went away, and then we founded MuukTest. But when we were talking about different things, ideas about entrepreneurship always came. Like it was 2008, 2009. I mean, 10 years before we launched MuukTest, and we that was part of our common discussion. Hey, did you notice this? Maybe this should happen or this could fix this issue. So, and then that was like 10 years before we launched MuukTest, but always we had a chance we were trying to figure out how to solve certain problems we were seeing or take advantage of certain opportunities. Yeah.
I love that. You guys were destined to do this together. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. Our manager didn't like that much.
Oh, yeah.
They were like,
they said, get back to work.
They
said, get back to work, you two. Enough of your daydreaming about becoming entrepreneurs. What sparked the idea and we talked about it a little bit in Toronto, but kind of share with the audience, how did you guys come up with the concept, and what were the next steps from just an idea to actually making it a real product?
So my background, I mean, I did software development for a little while after college, but then my whole career was on QA and testing, every role. Manual tester, test automation engineer, manager of testing, and then I ended up being a QA architect. So I had seen the whole testing phases on my own in different companies. But then when Renan and me started talking about launching a business, this was not the first idea that we thought of. Kind of, we were discussing different ideas, trying to automate social media. I think always around automation, some kind of automation and make something more efficient. But we tested 2-3 different ideas, and we learned that we were not experts in those areas we were exploring. Social media, marketing, we knew maybe a little bit, but we needed to learn more to understand better the pain and the solution.
Right.
So at the third round of these iterations or fourth round, we said, well, we should be maybe focusing on what we know. Software development, software QA testing. Renan was a QA architect, software QA, a software development architect. So he was seeing a lot of things from his perspective as well. So kind of at the third or fourth iteration of trying to launch something, we said, I mean, we are living this every day. This is a pain. The companies are paying millions and millions of dollars trying to test and automate. Let's fix it. So that's kind of the short story. I don't know, Renan, if I missed something or you want to add something.
No, I think for me, I noticed that even though we were discussing different ideas that might look promising, at least though those ideas were not, I mean, I was not passionate about those ideas that much, because at the end, I mean, you need to quit your job. I mean, if you have a background where you were doing well with your other companies, I mean, you need to quit and start something from scratch. So definitely that's a big step, and definitely there should be something more than, just starting a company. You need to be passionate about what you want to do and how you're going to accomplish, because there are a lot of things going on. And yeah, I think that was one of the keys that I noticed at that time.
I love that. Can you guys share an example of where your combined expertise and your individual strengths complemented each other, whether that's a milestone for a project or a project in general? Give me an example of the two sides of the coin kind of coming together to be successful.
Well, take it first, Renan.
Yeah, I think we have both. We have a strong technical background, so we started from there. So I think at the beginning, it was more, this framework, how it's going to work and everything. And as we kept evolving, we started to take like different roles. Ivan has taken more the CEO role, where it's more management, sales, marketing. I took more over the development. My background was more related, more technical, the software development, architecture. So it made a lot of sense. Ivan had an MBA. So somehow it made with a framework with strong technical background, then combining more one technical and the other more related with business. So that made a lot of sense. And I think at the beginning it was kind of close, and right now each time as it keeps growing, it's just getting into different places.
Yeah, and even that we kind of divided more now that the company is larger, still Renan adds a lot of value to the sales and marketing process because he understands the business too. And I try to jump in also in the product discussions and try to question. So I think kind of we divided, but we overlap in that center, that kind of the product management role, kind of that. And we kind of support each other's areas because we have enough knowledge of the other area to question and push each other and grow together. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So building and launching a startup is no small task. What are some of the key lessons you guys have learned on your journey so far that you believe would be valuable for other aspiring entrepreneurs or people who want to launch a product, would be helpful for them to hear?
Yeah. Let me think that the first three ones that come to mind, maybe those are the most important, like the first thing that come to mind, right? I think one is always focus on the problem you're trying to solve, not in the solution. Kind of If you start with an idea of the solution and you start implementing, it will change based on the problem. So understand deeply the problem that you're trying to solve. Second one might be open to unexpected solutions to that problem, because I think I see a lot of things times happening. I'm sure this idea is the solution for this problem, but no, it evolves as the more you talk to people with the pain, potential customers, it starts giving you insights about what really can solve that problem. And a lot of the time, more than 50-60% of the time, is different from the initial idea. So kind of, be totally open to really listen and change your initial idea on what the solution should be, and always be based on what the customers are trying to achieve. These people with the problem, what are they trying to achieve? So I think that's two. And third one, and I think it ties with what Renan said, you need to have passion for that. It shouldn't be a hobby. You need to fully commit. You are betting your career, sometimes your financial life for a few years. So you have to have passion for that. And I think with passion and the right attitude towards customers and learning, things start to get progress and get in the right place. I think that would be my three. Yeah.
What about you, Renan?
Well, if you're a technical founder, one of the main things that you need to consider is you need to do sales. That's something critical. And this ties what Ivan said about the value that you provide and what you're solving. So most of the technical founders, and I did the same mistake, is we try to sell the technology, right? I'm selling blockchain, I'm selling Web3, I'm selling, but that's not true. I mean, at the end, you need to understand the message of where you want to solve and how you're going to add value. And then, yes, you'll have some technology that helps you to do that, right? But at the end, you need to go out and sell. And I think one of the key learnings we have is also, the second one is the go-to-market. Sometimes, the sales is you need to go out and sell. Sometimes you don't want to be exposed, maybe because you don't want to hear that someone doesn't like your idea, or maybe they don't believe the same way that you believe. I mean, you need to hear that feedback and going back and maybe the square one, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But you need to understand that and do not feel bad that someone says, I will not pay for that, or yes, I will pay for that. And when you start to hear that someone is willing to pay, is because maybe you're solving a problem that will add value. And at the end, maybe you don't have to spend technology at all. I mean, and this happened, in the different conference, when we talk to entrepreneurs, they will say, yeah, I'm going to spend like 6 months, a year just developing this, and then I want to talk to customers. No, well, go out and do it manually. If you're going to sell something, you can do it, in a spreadsheet. And if that works, then you keep evolving. Do not hire like a development team just to have a random idea that you need to validate. So I think that's another thing. And sometimes what I've noticed is sometimes maybe you don't want to be exposed. I don't want to hear. So you say, oh, if I keep working closely, that will make it work eventually. It's going to be out. It's going to be perfect. So everyone is going to buy it.
Right. I love that. You touched on something there, and I'm curious. How did you get over your fear of getting out there and selling? Right. That's one of the biggest things you touched on, maybe one of the biggest, what I believe to be the pain points of any young entrepreneur, or even, veteran entrepreneurs that are out there selling. How did you personally get better at hearing no, and get better at putting yourself out there and learning to be a salesman for your product? Both of you guys, how did you guys do that? Renan, go ahead first.
I think it's passion. That's one thing. And the other is, if you don't sell, you don't have a business. So in the long term, and I read this from an advisor recently, if you want to sell, you don't want to see as a salesperson do not be an entrepreneur, do something else. I mean, and that's it. You're not going to have a business at the end if you're not able to do that. And maybe get some advisors, work on that, see what you can improve. But at the end, you need to move forward that direction.
Yeah. And the other one that I would add is, I mean, it's sales and launching the startup, asking for money for investors is a rejection handling business. You can reject it 98% of the time, probably. So separate yourself. Don't get attached to you are the product, you are the no, they are saying no to you. Not. Just see things as they are. I try to put that barrier between, because you will be rejected. Some prospects might be even rude, you could say, or something. You will be pushed to places that yourself was not pushed in the past. So learn to put that barrier and just feel like this is a sales process. I'm not the product. They are not saying not to me. Like it's interesting because I think that's one of the main fears that I see a lot of salespeople and young entrepreneurs, and I face it. I have seen a lot of people facing it, like how to handle rejection, because it will happen for sure. More than 50% of the times that you face a customer or an investor you want to raise, you are selling your idea, your vision, right? So, yeah.
50% is a very friendly number there. I think it's probably much higher than that. But so innovation is a core concept at MuukTest. How do you guys foster that culture of innovation with your team and encourage development of new ideas and solutions so you're constantly taking that next step and not getting stuck in the same level as a business? How do you guys do that for your product and for your business?
Talking about culture, I see maybe two things there, two topics. One is I believe that innovation comes from mixing different knowledge, different sources of knowledge, like diversity of knowledge. So sometimes we have interviewed people, we have put higher qualification in the interview when we see kind of this different background, depending on the position, but that will bring another perspective to the team. So I think innovation comes from that rich diversity of perspectives and knowledge in different areas or topics, different. And the other one is freedom to make mistakes. I personally came from my professional life from a lot of Six Sigma and don't do mistakes and everything should be perfect. But no, if you want innovation, you will have mistakes or things won't happen as you expected. So you have to maybe manage the right balance. So yeah, let's everything burn until certain point, but then maybe fix it a little bit, kind of don't strict process, but maybe enough rails so things don't get out of hand, but you let people be authentic on how they do certain tasks and projects. So yeah, I don't know if I explain myself, but I think those are two important for me.
That was great. Renan, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I will add also, if you don't have a communication that enables everyone to express their ideas and make sure that things that they're not going the right way, they can be able to raise their hand and say, hey, I've seen that this should be in the opposite direction. And you consider them and you take that into account as part of overall feedback. I think that's very important because we have seen other organizations where you have so creative people and they say, oh, I have this problem that can be solved by doing this. But, there are other hierarchies that will say, no, this is something that we have already invested millions or, this much time. So definitely it's not going to happen. And they get frustrated. So I think part of the culture it comes from, foster the innovation and how you communicate with your peers and how they take that feedback and they can introduce it as part of their overall process.
Yeah, I love that. I totally believe in the same thing. Communication is, it's such a, bastardized word where everybody likes to say that they communicate or over communicate, but it's very clear which organizations do and which ones don't and which ones foster it. It does have to be fostered. It has to be from top down. It has to be very transparent and honest. And I mean, it's not real communication if it's fake because you're afraid to say something. So I think that trust that you guys have built in your team is huge. You guys create, an awesome product at MuukTest. Can you guys share a notable achievement or some sort of feature that you guys are particularly proud of and how it's kind of positively impacted your customer or the industry?
Want to take it Renan first, or do I take it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the overall, you mean like particular feature or?
Any big milestone or achievement that you guys have kind of come together and delivered that you're proud of your team and you think has made a big impact to your customers?
Yeah, I think the platform that we have built, the algorithms and how we are training the algorithms for the upcoming milestones, they make their customers to find defects way faster than if they would have done it by either doing manually or doing, automating by their own. We have built, and again, we can talk about technology and, features in there, but the value and that they're able to, within a few weeks, they're able to automate, and that automation will enable their product to release faster with better quality. So I would say that's the most critical thing. And as we are evolving with the AI and all the new things that we're training, and this will reduce the amount of time that a QA engineer will dedicate for that, or even it upskill someone that they can be able to learn and, more sophisticated tasks, perform more sophisticated tasks because of the tool.
Love that. Ivan, anything on your side?
Yeah, I think in the same direction. I think the combination of different features that we have put together, at the end, they enable the customers to automate very fast hundreds of tests and maintain them easily. So we realize that testing and test automation have three main problems. Well, three main things to do. One is a strategy. The test planning, right? What you should be testing? What's the right thing to test? Automation, automating those tests in the right way. And then maintenance. Maintenance, it's a pretty commonly unappreciated pain. Like until the companies have hundreds of tests running, they say, okay, now I need 5 people just maintaining these hundreds of tests. So we saw like the whole picture of the 3 problems, and we built small features that alleviate these problems in different manners. At the end, we are proud of getting customers to hundreds of tests in a few weeks, running pretty quickly and using minimal time for maintenance. So I think it's the overall platform thinking that we have. Yeah.
I love that. Who was your guys' first customer? You don't have to name them by name, but who was your first customer and how'd you guys get them?
If it's not by name, how do we do it? I think the name. I think they will get mad.
Mainly the story, right? How did you guys get your first customer?
Yeah, it's a logistics company. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's here in Durham. So, and it was through networking. One of the testers, they were automating tests and they were suffering doing that. So, let's make a demo to my boss. And we demoed and they liked it and they were on a free trial at the beginning. Then they converted to customer. That was the first customer. I think the process between free trial to conversion was 3 months or 4 months. But we were super patient because the platform was buggy. It was the first version of the software. So even though we were testing software, it was not perfect. MVP is a startup, no? So they helped us to mature and they were customer for a long time. And they helped us to mature. And the first payment we got, it felt pretty good. It seems like, we are doing something people appreciate and they are willing to put some money for that. So the first customer is pretty important and we appreciate and thank them. Actually, I will send them an email today or later this week after.
There you go.
It's a long time not catching up with them. So,
we're bridging gaps. We're bridging gaps here on the first customer.
Yeah.
If you guys had to start MuukTest again tomorrow with all the stuff that you've learned, but back at square one, what would be step 1? What would you guys do first?
I let Renan take this first one on this one.
I'm noticing that every time Ivan doesn't have a great answer or he's not ready, he kicks it over to Renan to save him. It sounds like maybe that happens a lot.
I can take it. You got it.
I would say that we started with an MVP. I would have sold or make sure that is out sooner. So I think we kind of waited to believe that it was perfect in the sense, like, when you really think that it should be out. That's one thing. And I think the second thing, it will be hard how to the go to market. I believe we tried first go to market. We had an idea which way to do it instead of having the product go to the customers, talk to them, and then when they start to sell, then find what is the right go to market. I think at the beginning we tried the opposite. They say, okay, these are the different go to market. I mean, we can say inbound, we can say like product work growth. So we try different to push the product. So, and I think that's the opposite. Yeah, we learned that, you have to be, once that you have customers that they pay, identify those profiles, identify how to reach them, then you do the go to market.
I would strictly talk to 100 customers at least or prospects with kind of the same characteristics, like a kind of maybe same size company and then I would solve manually or semi-automatically the problem for them. And then I would build the product maybe. Yeah. Totally talk to a lot of people, get trends and insight from there, solve it manually or semi-automatically, start building the tool from what things that can help you to solve that problem. And once they are paying and you see them happy, go all in with building a whole software solution. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. You're both young men still, to some degree. We're all still young men, I guess, on this call at least. What are things you guys do? Give me 3 things you guys do, each of you, to keep yourself healthy. If we need energy, you got to have a positive mindset. You got to have a lot of things to be co-founders of a company like you guys are. What do you guys do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to keep yourself tuned up and make sure your energy is where it needs to be for yourself, for your family, for your company, and everything else? Renan, you can go ahead and take this one first.
Well, first, exercise. I practice a lot of sports. I spend at least 1.5 hours at least a day exercising. Eat healthy. I think I have a good diet, so I try to stick there. And I try to stay away from all the negative or something negative because in entrepreneurship, you can lean, you can focus on, 98% of the startups will fail or 2 out of them will work, right? So stay with that 2% is better than 0%, right? So try to consume that type of information and make sure that, you're following the right people without stay away of drama, stay away, make sure that you stick with the values and the things that will give you more energy.
Love that.
Yeah.
Ivan, what's up?
I 100% agree with those 3 points. And something else I do is I would add, maybe it's becoming cliche, but meditation. I have been doing it for 9 years, but it has really helped me. I'm always been kind of more. In the past, I was I want everything perfect, kind of OCD. This has to be perfect. And then, and if it was not perfect, it was making me anxious to be perfect. So I have 9 years meditating every day, 20 minutes to 1 hour daily, depending on how the morning is looking. But yeah, exercising, eating well, sleeping well. Also, I think sleeping is underrated sometimes. In the past, I used to be a 5 hours sleeper, 6 hours, and let's make the most of the day. Now I prefer to go for 7 or 8 and have less maybe active time, but of higher quality. So sleeping is also something that I have been learned to prioritize. Yeah.
Well, I've never known you. I've only known you as chill, very zen Ivan. So I'm glad maybe I met you in the last 9 years. But you've been doing meditations since before it was cool. So that's good. I'm also a huge fan of meditation, and I think it helps. The exercise, I think, equally kind of mental health and exercising is connected for me as well. So I think that's it, guys. tell me where they can find MuukTest. Where can we find you guys if they want to find out more information? I'll put your website in the show notes, obviously. But where can we find MuukTest, and where can we find you guys if anybody wants to connect?
Yeah, MuukTest.com, and personally send us an email. We are the two co-founders. Happy to get emails. Ivan at MuukLabs.com, because MuukLabs is the company, MuukTest is the product. MuukLabs.com, and Renan at MuukLabs.com. Please reach out to us for any questions, connecting us entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Wow. Well, this was great. This did not crash and burn. I was expecting the unexpected for this, but I should have expected it to go perfectly because you guys are both fantastic. I really enjoyed meeting you guys in Toronto. I'm glad we got to spend a little more time today. Ivan, you and I do a standing call, every month just to catch up and talk about business. Renan, it feels like you need to be on that call at this point, but I love you guys' energy. I love what you're doing, and I feel very thankful to have you guys in my network. So thank you for giving me some of your time today. You're a fantastic guest, and we'll talk again soon. All right.
Thanks,
guys.
for the invite, Jay.
Thank you,
Renan.
See you guys.
Thank you.